Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Matitude, where we talk about, you guessed it right, Eurovision. And of course, it's another special episode. I know I always say they're all special, but it's especially special. Does that make sense? Because we got some new faces here. But first, to the familiar face, all the way to the right, Roy. Are you ready to take another 9 songs apart?
Of course, I always am. I love this part of the season where I can just throw my opinion on the internet and hope I
That
don't get
nobody wants to
crucified by
hear, and yet
everyone.
here we are, right? Well, we do it
Exactly,
anyways.
exactly. This
And
space, like, so small, it's so confined. I'm
I
not used to
know.
it.
And for the first time joining us on the live stream here, why don't you introduce yourselves, Emma?
Sure. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. It's my first time here with you. I'm very excited. And greetings from Serbia.
From Serbia. And go ahead, Philip. Well, I said your name already, so they know your name, but go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Philip and I'm from Denmark. Yes, enjoy the stream, guys.
Yes, I know. That's we have a very diverse group of people this time around from different places. Because sometimes, because I'm from the US, we get a lot of Americans here and Brits, of course. But it's nice to have a little bit of I hate the word fresh meat, but new folks, new thoughts and insight. So we'll talk about 9 songs today. In case you don't know what's going to happen today, so mostly for the most part, we're going to do our ESC United jury. That means we talk about all songs that are in the running, all 37 of them, and then share our thoughts, our score, and then the Team United score overall. And at the very end, when this is all done, I also add the viewers' results as well. And we have an overall ESC United score. So very important. We're going to talk about 9 songs today. And in the description box of the video, there are 9 links. Go ahead and vote either now or as we go through them and give them your score. And that's how it works. So the first song we're going to talk about will be Italy. So if you think Italy's the most amazing song, you give it 10 points. If you think it's like the opposite, it's 1 point. And then everything in between. So that is basically how it works. And we kind of are doing the same thing here as well. And we talk it through. And then by the time Liverpool comes around, we're definitely done with this. Speaking of Liverpool, real quick, before we get started, first of all, I also want to give a big shout out to our very active moderator, Osiris. You're doing such a fabulous job every single time. And but I know that Liverpool coming around, I think that's going to be a lot for one person. So if you are interested in joining the mod team here just on YouTube to keep things a little in order and help promote and kind of get away from, how am I going to phrase this? Take care of the pesky ones. Let us know. You can contact me either by email, Matt@ESC United. You can contact me on Twitter or wherever you can reach us. So there are multiple ways. So that is just wanted to throw out there. So we got a bunch of work ahead of us, so I don't think I want to waste any more time with this. Oh, yes, of course. Before we get started, everyone in the chat or those who are watching later, right now, please like the video. The algorithm has been very unkind to us, and I need to fix that. So if you like the video and comment as well on anything we have, that helps us tremendously. So very much appreciated. So with no further ado, I think we should jump right into it. And as I already spoiled it a second ago, we're going to go for them one by one. The first country on our list we're going to discuss is Italy. And Italy, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only Marco Mengoni. The man, not with one, but due vita. He's the Italian heartthrob himself, and he got the voice of an angel, the looks of a model, and the moves of a dancing machine. At least in my head, he does. I don't even know if that's true. And if that's not enough to make you swoon, just wait until he takes the stage in Liverpool. So sit back, relax, and get ready, because to be entertained by our one and only, as mentioned, Marco Mengoni. It's Italy, by the way. So screw the semis. They're a Big Five country. They will be in the grand final, but we're not predicting it anyways. By the way, in case you're brand new to the contest, 10 years ago, he took the Eurovision stage already, and now he is back for more. The question is, do we like Due Vita or not? First, let's go talk for them one by one, and then we'll give our score at the end as well. Then we're going to listen to your thoughts, and then you get to vote as well. Let me just go, since I'm rambling already, just finish my thoughts. So to me, when it comes to Italy, it's kind of hilarious that I developed a reverse jinx when it comes to Italy, the Italian entries in Eurovision. Basically, every year without fail, I'm head over heels into the Italian song, except for the year where they actually won the contest. I was like, So, Marco Mengoni, I have some bad news for you. I love your song, and which means you're not going to win this year, but that is okay. Let's not take away the fact that this is an amazing, amazing entry. It's like Marco took he took like a time machine into the 90s, brought it back with a great blend between retro and modern pop. And let's talk about his voice. It's smoother than a fresh jar of Nutella, isn't it? I just really just his voice is just it does it. And don't get me wrong, L'Essenziale, beautiful song. But this is a whole different level for me. Melodically, I just jive with this a whole lot more. And I know some folks in the Eurovision community might not vibe with it as much. I've saw some of the comments. I'm just happy to be on this time traveling journey with great vocals and feel good vibes from the song. So I am a fan. That is basically my summary of Italy. Let's see if this will continue or people have different thoughts. Roy, why don't you get next?
What a wonderful idea. Yes, I think Italy has a decent song this year again. And like you said, Marco is really the selling point of it. His voice is really unique and he's got great looks. And he's got great stage charisma. Like, I think a lot of people will vote for it. Now, to me, is it the most groundbreaking ballad out there? I don't know. I think it is pretty much a bit by the books. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily that tickles me either. Like, I would have wanted a little bit more from the Italian entry this year, maybe. I don't dislike it at all. I think they'll have a great result. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea. And yeah, it's okay. Just not amazing for me.
Okay, so lukewarm from Roy. Emma, what are your thoughts?
Right. So for me, Italy has sort of like a reputation for generally sending like quality songs, more or less. Those songs don't necessarily have to be an earworm for a casual Eurovision viewer, in my opinion. And I think that's the case with Duevit as well. Marco has like that strong stage presence, and his vocals are undeniable in every sense of the word. But I don't know how, for me at least, I can appreciate all the incredibly good parts about the song. I just don't really feel like the song is for me. It's not really something I would listen to privately. Again, a lot of it is banking on the performance, but I would perhaps want to see him do something more to elevate the song, whether it's with the staging or anything else. And what I'm saying is that I'm hoping that he doesn't end up doing like the regular ballad thing that we see every single year. Other than that, it does have potential, I suppose.
Okay, then we go. Philip, bring it home. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short. It's very much the same as Roy. I feel like it's a very typical entry from Italy. It has this beautiful acoustic feeling, and it does what it needs to. Of course, his voice is beautiful and very emotional, and I feel like the whole setup is very well executed. I love the whole piano ballad in general. It's very good, but I just don't find it groundbreaking, all that special. But I feel it's a very solid final product.
Okay, so it seems like I was the most cheerful about this one, but all we care about are the points. So let's go for them real quick. Despite my little swooning explanation here, I fully agree with it. Is certainly not the most groundbreaking ballad that has ever been written. But I think it's really the nostalgia that really grabs me here and makes me, it sounds like music that my parents would have listened to. And I think I just have a soft spot for it. So it's not a perfect score, but nevertheless, 8 points I think is pretty good for Italy coming from me. Roy.
Yeah, like I said, it's a solid song. A lot of people will enjoy it. I'm not necessarily the target audience for it, but that's okay. I think it is very decent. They'll get a good result. I gave it a 6.5.
6.5 coming from Roy. Emma, your score.
I think you were right when you said that it's a very classic thing, and it reminds me of those like dreamy old school singers that just captivate you with their performance. But as I said, I needed a little bit more. For me, it's somewhere in the middle, 5.5.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Philip.
This song is good. I would also I probably won't seek it out, and it's not something that I'll listen to in my free time or anything. I think it does what it needs to, but it is a very good song. I give it a 7 out of 10.
7. That's pretty good. Okay, I wasn't sure where that was going to go, so I think we can live with that. But we, of course, need to figure out first where Italy ends up on our list. And let me find it right here. Are you ready? Again, this is how the Team United voted overall. Not just the 4 of us, but everyone else on the team. And then we'll combine everyone else who has thoughts or comments. Leave them now in the chat, always at ESC United, and we can address them as well. But Italy's score is 7.03. It made the cut, at least in terms of in the 7-point mark. Keep in mind, this is song number 20 we're reviewing, and is basically, I guess, in the middle. Emma, going to you first. I know you technically had the lowest score of the 4 of us on this one. Are you surprised to see this high, or did you see like, yeah, this, I see why people would like this better?
I'm not really surprised. I did expect it at least, at number 15, maybe. Not at 10, not making it top 10, but good for Italy.
Yeah, how about you, Roy?
Yeah, I think this is right around where I expected it to land, actually. Like maybe a little bit higher even. Even when I look at people in the chat saying they give it a solid 7, I think what most people say, it's solid. And I think a 7 is a good score for that. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And I meant to show this score earlier, so that's my bad. I meant to actually start with the scoreboards from the top 19 so far. So I'm going to show them now since I forgot. It will not include Italy. So you're going to move all these countries down 1 spot from 10 and beyond that. Let me see here. So last week we did Norway last. So this is our current top. Sweden 8.30, as you see. I'm sorry?
No, I just said dang it.
Serbia. Yeah, Serbia was unfortunately removed out of the top 10. But they were top 10 then. And then the rest here is Lithuania, Cyprus, Armenia, Denmark, Albania, Greece, Switzerland, Romania, and Poland. So that is the ranking right now. And then, of course, Serbia now in 11th place, etc., etc. So any questions now in the chat, let me know. So one person is the Blood and Glitter Boys still top 10. I know, Philip, you are not in the video than we last week. So remind me real quick. I have the individual scores in front of me. What were your thoughts on Germany?
Our scores or our thoughts?
Philip. No, just your thoughts real quick on Germany, Philip.
I'm not a fan. I just don't get it. It's not my cup of tea at all. It's not awful, but I just don't really get the same hype that most people express. I've seen you, Matt, are very, very happy about the song, but it's a bit too dated for me. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, now I do know that Germany is quite polarizing, and I will not spoil anything in terms of suddenly you saw like the votes are very, very interesting to say the least when I saw the viewer votes coming in, because they have some different opinions than we had on our team. So I cannot wait to have the combined results. Ali is saying, I was personally hoping higher, but 7 is around what I was expecting for Due Vitae. Germany. Italy, always, a contender. I think we know almost always, I should say. And I know that, besides me, so I may be the most biased person here, so I should not comment that. So any of you who thinks, by a sign of hand, that Italy has a good chance of being in the top 10 in Liverpool? Who believes they will in the top 10? So you also think it's a candidate for the top 10 at least?
It's going to land right around like 9 till 12th, I think.
Oops. Okay, yeah, I was just curious. Okay, so that's what we have with Italy. Made it past the 7-point mark, and keep in mind, making past the 8 is very, very difficult. We only had 2 songs so far that made that. So they should be happy. So I think, with that being said, by the way, at the very end, we will also have like just a quick open Q&A if you have any other thoughts on anything else, because we're getting so close to Eurovision and we have so much to talk about. I know it's crazy. And I'll see you in a few weeks, Roy. Isn't weird, huh?
It's gonna be great seeing you again. Like,
I
just
know
give
it's been a
that
minute,
good
well, a
old
year.
bear hug and like, yeah, let's
I
have some
know,
fun
I
in
know.
Liverpool.
Okay, I just have a bad foot, so don't step on it, please.
I'll wear the biggest boots I can find.
Okay, okay, so thoughtful. All right, well, now that we've on the topic of Roy, let's stay on the topic of the Netherlands because they are next up on our list. So
Nice
let's
bridge.
jump right into it. And honestly, these two are like the musical equivalent of Reese's peanut butter cups. They're great on their own, but when they come together, magic happens. And when they sing Burning Daylight, you'll feel like you're floating on a cloud of pure musical bliss, or at least that's what they're hoping for. Now, we'll share our thoughts, of course, and see if that is accurate. The song was co-written by Duncan Lawrence. So what could possibly go wrong? He won the contest just 4 years ago. Oh my God, it's been 4 years, y'all, since he won.
Mental.
This is not cool. Let's move on. So, yeah, that Jesus. So, the question is, though, what do we think about this song? Emma, why don't you go first? What are your thoughts
Sure.
on the Netherlands this year?
Sure. Okay, so for someone who is not really into like slower, mellowy songs in Eurovision, somehow year after year, Netherlands surprises me. Last year it was with S10. This year it's Burning Daylight. If I have to choose like a ballad, I'm not sure if we consider this a ballad actually. Probably, maybe. But if I have to choose like a ballady song in my top 10 this year, it's this one. And I wish they did it in Dutch again. And maybe that's just the Serbian in me who prefers songs in their native languages. I'll take English as well, though. I think it's just a beautifully composed track. I think that the melody just flows seamlessly with their voices and lyrics, and the build-up is great, and it just somehow sounds pure to me. And if they can pull off the live performance and convey that sort of emotion from the music video, I think we're in for a real treat.
Oh, okay. We're off to a good start with the Netherlands. Well, of course, Roy, we need to know what your thoughts are. I know it's always weird commenting on your own country, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when it was released, I mean, firstly, when it was announced that they were going to be the artist and the way it was selected, I wasn't too overly excited because it was a bit of a different kind of way than usually. But the song, I wasn't necessarily excited about it, but just the more I listen to it and the more I just randomly comes on the radio here in the Netherlands, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's actually quite a solid song. And I think you can stage it really well as well. Like it's a duet. We've done a duet well before. So I thought it could have done a really good job. Now, obviously, I handed in all the scores and stuff before the live performances, and there is a big drama in the Netherlands right now that they were not the best live. It is mental. But, you know, I kind of have to forget about that. They only need to nail it once after all, right? So I think it's a solid song.
Technically
and I hope
twice,
we do
but yeah,
well.
point still stands.
I mean, I would be happy if we make it to the final. Like, I think that's basically their goal, and then just. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, no, I'm
Technically 3 times then, because you have to jury
yeah, because you have to
show
count the
and-
jury show as well. Yeah, I know we're digressing though. We're getting into the specifics. All right, y'all. So let's talk about it. I know, as Roy just correctly pointed, there's been some online buzz about it, but hear me out. First things first, I do find those two actually quite likable. There's something about them like I really want to root for them. Like, go, go, go. Unfortunately, this time around, I just can't seem to get into the song. And like Emma, I actually do like ballads. That this year I'm struggling with most of the ballads this year. It's just like the emotional impact that they're trying to have just felt a little bit flat for me. And just like a little whoop in the bucket. And one of the things melodically, it just doesn't stick with me. And when you have two singers like that, talented singers, I was hoping for more harmonies that should really showcase their chemistry there. And I think that's not happening. So I feel the disconnect there. And don't get me wrong, the Netherlands, they've been bringing serious fire to the contest for the God knows how many years now. But this year, for some reason, it just doesn't stick with me. I just keep forgetting it's in the running, actually. It's like, oh yeah, the Netherlands. I usually, I just underwhelmed. Underwhelmed is the best way to frame it for me, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I've been a fan of the Dutch entries for so many years. I guess it's okay to have one meh year. And I wouldn't use the word dislike in any shape or form. I don't dislike the song. It's just major indifference. I guess that's the best way I can phrase it. So it's just it's just not for me, I guess. How about you, Philip?
Yeah, I know this is not a very groundbreaking song at all. I first want to just say that my rankings are based on the studio versions because I can't compare all stuff, especially when I gave the rankings a long time ago. So the performance before the actual contest won't actually change. I am though worried about the final product with what I've seen. There's some hard notes, especially from, I think it's Mia Nikolai, right? Is that the girl? I think
Mia's her name. Yeah.
Yeah. She has some hard notes to hit also when she comes to the show and that. But overall, I find their chemistry actually very good. I feel like it's very well portrayed within the song. I love their harmonies, the few that they actually do. And I love how personal it all feels. It is very apparent that it's made by Duncan Lawrence. And while it is not my actual complete favorite song, it is one of the songs I've listened to the most in my free time. So that it definitely has something going for it.
Okay, so now it's time to find out what our points are. So let's go right through this. Emma, what did you give the Netherlands?
Yes, so as I said, I also actually made I gave them the points based on the studio versions. So I put Netherlands very high on my list. I gave it 8 points. So.
Oh, that is good. Roy, 10, right? Because Dutch.
10.
Right?
I never give 10s, Matt, so no.
Well, but, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's a solid song, I think. Just the more I listened to it, the more I was like, yeah, we have a solid chance of doing well. Again, granted that live, whatever. And I gave it a 7.5. I think it's just solid.
Oh, man, you make me all like a dick right now. Look, it would be unfair if I give every song high scores if I really just don't click with it. And it's just, to me, below average. I just find this one of the most forgettable entries this year. Nothing against the singers, nothing against anybody, but in terms of like ranking, it's just a little bit on the... So unfortunately, I'm giving it 4 points. So I know it's significantly lower. Philip.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to make you look like a dick. This song is amazing. And I give it an 8.5.
How did I become the mean person? I'm always like, every time, every live stream, it's like, Matt, you love every song down to you. You just want to be nice. I'm like, no, it's just kind of how the songs fell. And anyways,
I think personally I got lucky with this batch because not all of my points were this high, but this batch,
high, yeah. It was also very random. So that was not like the running order was random. The selection of who's on what video is random. There was nothing really strategically applied. But let's jump into the overall score. And everyone else in the chat, share your thoughts as well at ESC United. And the Netherlands on Team United. The 4 of us and everybody else as well. We're going to give the Netherlands 6.30, 13th place out of 21. So, Philip, I have to go to you since you, I think, the biggest cheerleader on this team. Is that disappointing to you?
I think it makes sense, especially based on its more recent votes with all this stuff going on over at the Netherlands. I think it makes sense, but of course I would want it higher. It is one of my favorites. So. As disappointed as I am, I understand it.
I actually see I made a mistake. It's actually even lower. I just think it's 6.30. It's in the 15th place. I gotta fix that. So I'm sorry about that. Oh no, I don't think I fixed on the other scoreboards either. So it'll be fixed tomorrow.
It's okay. We understand. As long as the score is correct, it's fine.
The score is correct. Yeah, but the ranking is not. So it's 15th place. So going back to Roy, as our resident Dutch, what are your thoughts? To be fair, I also just want to add context here. These scores, for the most part, were all submitted way before the parties and all of that stuff. So it's just would be a minor impact on the score. I think it's just overall.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this is pretty much where I expected it to be. Like, I would expect me to be more of the higher scores with my 7.5. I think this panel is a bit optimistic than the general voice that I've been hearing online and from other people. So I didn't expect it to be extremely high. So 6 makes sense to me.
Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the comments here. Vanya is saying a solid entry from the Netherlands. If they improve the live, they can easily qualify. It's a 7 from me. So I'll be the first to admit I did not watch any of the live performances in the parties. I was in Barcelona, but they weren't performing. Has anyone watched the clip? Emma, you've watched them?
Yes.
Were they that bad? Was it just like harmony, like the vocals were off, or what was it that people didn't
I
like?
don't really want to say they were that bad. I think that maybe some of the technical issues were happening at the pre-parties. So I don't really want to say that this is exactly what we're going to expect to see at the Eurovision stage, but they were not great.
They were not great, and that was consistently not great because there were a couple of parties, right?
Performed twice, yeah.
And there were both performances were underwhelming.
Yeah, the first one I get because they said both were technical issues, but the first one it really sounded like that because Dion just sat in on the wrong note, I think, or the key, and the second one was just a bit pitchy and a bit shaky overall. And it would be a bit weird that when you're in the Netherlands, you're on entry and you mess up the technical stuff for that one out of all of them. So not fully buying into that story, but it wasn't the best.
Yeah. One thing though, for those who are a big fan of the Dutch song, don't despair because it happens quite a bit in the past. Yeah. I remember everyone just thought that in 2019, She Got Me, was like gonna not even qualify because he was not very bad, but he was very meh in those like in Amsterdam and other performances because he was dancing a lot and he couldn't breathe well, and then he was like pitchy, so people were like he's gonna flop big time, and then I think he did pretty well. So I would not put too much stock into that.
And even a bit more with Blanche from 2017. Like it was one of the big favorites, and then in the pre-party, it was quite underwhelming. And the rehearsals that kind of continued, but in the end, it kind of came together. So you just
she pulled it together when she had to. It
Exactly.
was just like boom. Yeah, exactly. So don't give up hope. One question for you, Roy: have Mia and Dion performed live on Dutch TV yet? Have you seen anything?
I don't think they have. No. I think only at these 2 pre-parties, but I don't think they will now anymore either, because literally every single news channel in the Netherlands is running away with how terrible it was, and they've become kind of a bit of a laughing stock and a bit of a hit. Whoa, witch hunt! I want to say hitch once, twice. Brain work, but yeah,
I know. I know that feeling so well, especially when you talk a lot. So yeah, that's unfortunate because they're supposed to hear like just enjoy the experience and just do their best. I don't think any of that. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But there's no need to really just. That's just how people are, I guess.
And it's like the Dutch bluntness as well. Like we are very much.
Yes, you are.
If it's not good, it's not good, and we will tell you it's not good. And
I even saw. Did anyone see the comments from the broadcaster? They were just so like matter of fact. Like
I genuinely thought they would be very kind and like it was very nice.
You thought it was nice.
And everybody was like, they're getting crucified. What is this? And I'm like, this makes sense. It's very Dutch. It's very
How
good.
did you perceive that, Emma? Because as a non-Dutch person.
I did not see it. I'm just asking, like, what happened? What did I miss?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
What? The broadcast? See, I thought because I'm not Dutch, but I'm German. So there's some family, relationship there, in terms of the very bluntness. It just was basically, how did they phrase it? I don't remember exactly word for word, but it was more of a, yes, this wasn't good, or that we're working on. How did they phrase it, Roy? Do you remember?
Let me find it.
It was just so like matter of fact, but the matter of fact felt so clinical, almost like void of any sort of emotion. It was like, ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's how we do it in the Netherlands.
I know. My family's the same way every time I visit them. They're like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, thanks. Good to see you too. It's
Sorry for those comments. No, joking.
Did you find it?
It's
okay if you don't.
I can't find it at the moment, no.
That's all right. But yeah, there were, we can look it up later. But yeah, that is the Netherlands, and we'll see. You can still vote as well, by the way. It's again, if you think the score should be higher or lower, whatever you think, or is it just about right? The link for the Netherlands is in the description box. Vote and give it a score so that that'll be included, and then I'll give you the video with the full results very, very soon. But we have to move on because we got plenty of countries to talk about. The next country on our list that we need to discuss is Portugal. And she got more sass than a cat in heat and more style than a whole room full of fashion models. I just love to come up with stuff like that. I'm talking about Mimicat from Portugal, of course. I mean, you've seen her performance in Festival de Canção. She left a major impression with that song and with Ai Curaçao. And when Mimicat is on stage, you're in for a meow this time because, get it? Mimicat? All right, dad joke. Anyway, Portugal will battle it out in the very competitive semi-1, and we are here to share our thoughts on this and if we approve or not. So let's go with you first, Philip. What are your thoughts?
I approve. I feel like Portugal always put out these like kind of fan favorite underdog songs that and it kind of fits into this mold of like the telemovies and the Love Is On My Side as we reach the staging and that kind of stuff. Originally I had other favorites for Festival de Canção, but it grew just about the moment when they won, when she won. I love the whole burlesque cabaret inspirations, and it just grows more and more with every listen. It's not like the typical Eurovision song, but it's like the typical Portuguese Eurovision song. And I've always been a fan of like a song that does like clapping and makes it work. Not like if you guys remember Slovakia in 2018. They had like this whole clapping moment where they wanted to stop the song to clap. That was awful, very cringeworthy. But it actually worked into the song. Yes, and I'm a fan of the way it all picks up towards the closing section. And I didn't really get. It grew so much that the rating is a bit off of what I actually feel like now. It can become a bit repetitive and sound too much like a musical, but I think it's a very good song.
It's a very good song, according to Philip. Emma.
So, okay, gosh.
Oh no. Okay, go ahead.
So it's interesting. It makes great use of, I think, Portuguese language, obviously Portuguese culture. You can hear it in the instrumentals. And she has this very nice aura that just pulls you right in. Like, she's a great performer. She's very engaging in that sense. But all of that said, this is another one of those songs that I think just has to be performed. It's super theatrical, and I'm not really sold on the, how should I phrase this, like the re-listening quality of it. I wouldn't, go back to it ever. Other than that, I feel like she can probably surprise us in Liverpool. Maybe transform the idea of what we are used to with this song, but it's in the lower half for me. Like, it doesn't move me in any way.
So this is not on Emma's radar. How about you, Roy?
It's not that bad. Like it's okay. I think Portugal might struggle though, because I totally get that this song won. Like, personally for me, it was like 9th out of that selection, but I really, really love Festival de Canção this year. There was so many good songs. And I don't know, I just think this in the lineup of Eurovision 2023 with all the other songs around it is a bit forgettable sometimes, and a little bit like, oh yeah, that also exists. And I don't necessarily go back to listen to it that much compared to other songs. And while I do understand that it's fun and she's an amazing performer, because that is really what elevates the score a little bit more for me even, it's unfortunately not necessarily my cup of tea, but it's okay. It's okay.
I tried so hard not to have any facial expression throughout all of this. I hope I probably failed. But
you gave a lot, and yeah.
I did. Well, it's a good thing I go last, I guess. I need to. To me, it's like I was holding on to my hat or my wig or whatever, because to me it was just an absolute roller coaster ride of theatrics and catchiness to me. I thought it was super catchy. I felt like I was grooving in like somewhere in an audience of a Broadway show. That is true. And I have appreciation for it. And it's a cabaret style flair. And no wonder the song gives me off like some Chicago, the musical vibes. But it's really Mimi Cat to me that takes it to a new level with her powerful stage presence. I mean, she's just like, wow, I'm here. Focus. Incredible vocals, that big note. The song is just to me, it's a masterpiece, and that it gives me life. It pumps me up like I can take on the world every time it's come on. It just gives me that energy. I'm just so into it. And let me tell you, this genre, as you can hear, may not be for the faint of heart, but Mimi Cat will even have the biggest doubters eating their words with her outside performance. I believe in her. I believe in Portugal. And what's more, this song to me is actually timeless. It could have been easily performed a decade ago, 2 decades ago, and I think there would be a place in the contest for this in years to come as well. And I can get enough of it. I am absolutely obsessed, addicted, head over heels in love with Ai Curaçao. So I am the cheerleader of the song. So after a couple of, not so great reviews I get from me now, back on track. So let's see how this will all look in score-wise. So I'm a little nervous. Philip, what did you give Portugal?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it can become a little too much of a musical performance for me, and it does become a bit repetitive at times. But I am a fan of the song, and it did also sneak into my top 10 recently. So it is a good song. I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I think I'm closer to like a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Okay, here we go. Emma.
Yes, I'm sorry if I offended anyone with my opinion with Portugal, but yeah, I would give it. I think I give it a little bit higher, but I want to stick with 5 points. Yeah.
Okay, 5 points, smack in the middle. Roy.
Yeah, like I said, it's okay. Not necessarily the one that lights me up, but I don't think it is necessarily below the normal average either. And it makes a lot of sense that you said that it's kind of like it could also take place a few years ago. Like I could picture it in the 90s or something like that as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, besides the point, I give it a 6.5.
Okay. Well, that doesn't come as a surprise that I'm a big fan of the song, of course. So that's probably reflected in my score. It's a 5 for me, and not 5. I'm sorry, 9.5. 9.5. I only said the second one. 9.5. 9.5. It's almost perfect. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. So I love it, and hopefully my score will help maybe Portugal end up a little bit higher in our ranking. But keep in mind, we are just 4 people. There are plenty of other folks, and maybe they will side with me or with the 3 of them. Only one way to find out. I will share the score, and everyone in the chat, let me know what your thoughts are at ESC United, so that we can comment on that accordingly. So Portugal received from Team United 7.42, 7.42 in 7th place. No, so I'm very happy, of course, seeing 7.42 for Portugal. Portugal, I think it's fair to say, based on what I saw on the scores, surprisingly a little bit more polarizing than I anticipated. So people either actually, it's not even polarizing. It has more of the effect of people either really, really love it, or they're just meh about it, like kind of down the Emma line. It's very little hate for that one out there, that they give like really low scores. And I think that helps Portugal to stay in a really good position here with Team United. 7th place currently. We still got plenty of songs to go. Emma, what are your thoughts?
Not surprising. I actually saw a lot of love for this song on Twitter and other like platforms. I think this song is generally, actually, in my opinion, really loved. I think people are really enjoying it, and I didn't see really negative opinions in that sense. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And Philip, you're technically the closest in terms of your score to the actual team score. So you're mostly satisfied with this one. This is where it belongs.
Yes, I agree. It's good to see you got the rankings right.
I know, right?
It looks good right there. It looks good at a 7th place. It's what it should be.
Yeah. But as said, we're not the only ones voting. I want everyone in the chat, of course, to go into the description box and vote for Portugal if you haven't done so already. I need your score so we can have a little bit more of a representation from team. First question here, looking from Sebastian. Do you think Portugal will qualify? It gives me Portugal 2019 vibes. Roy, what are your thoughts in terms of the first part? Do you think Portugal will qualify?
No.
You don't think it won't qualify?
Huh? I just think the semi-final is incredibly strong, and I can see a bit of what Sebastian is saying here, that it's a song that is loved by a lot of people, but I feel like a casual viewer will appreciate the performance, but I don't think it's one of those performances where they will pick up the phones and be like, yeah, that's the one I'm voting for. And yeah, I fear a bit for Portugal's chances to qualify, to be honest.
And Emma, can you see the comparison to like the 2019 effort from Portugal? I forgot the name right now. Conan. I forgot the name of the song.
Wait, did I forget?
Conan. Yeah. Is it coming to you? I mean,
No,
not genre-wise, it's very, very different, but I think what he's referring to is more about a certain hype, because it was quite popular with the Eurovision bubble, and then kind of fell flat at Eurovision, of course.
I did see a few comments that said, oh, you know, Portugal this year might have the, sorry if I'm butchering, is the Telemovie.
Yeah, Telemovies, that's what it was, yes. Right. I forgot the name.
But they're in a very strong semifinal, so I'm not really sure what to expect, really, especially from a casual viewer. And as for the comparison, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say. You know, we'll all be smarter after the fact. It's that's kind of what it is. So there were a bunch of comments. I just want to throw that out there, Philip. If you're gonna see it similar, there's a comparison. It will be either Serbia or Portugal that they are kind of like battling it out. Do you see that? Like they're like the borderline qualifiers. I feel, me personally, I feel like those are two different genres catering to different people, although they're both my top 10. But how do you feel about this comparison?
I don't actually see. I see both of them qualifying actually, and I see Portugal actually doing much better than people are, and the odds are saying. I think it's doing the same as the Black Mamba did. Not all the way up, but I think that it's gonna do well. I think it's gonna catch more of the parents sitting in the couches and that kind of vibe. I see it qualifying pretty safely actually.
Oh, okay. So that is how different thoughts here. So it's very interesting. I think this one's going to be a little unpredictable based on some of the comments and thoughts here. But again, we'll all be smarter in a month from now anyways. But we'll talk then. And then you get all the comments. I knew it. I told you so. You know, I'm like, it's always so easy to say after the fact. But anyways,
I love it when those things prove me right, though. Like when
I do sometimes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have always lively conversations, Roy and I, then about certain entries and strong opinions. I love it. I wouldn't miss it for the world, even though mine are better, my opinions. But anyways, we have to move on. Next up on our list is a country we're going to talk about, and that is Belgium. And of course, please give a warm round of applause for Gustav. And he has a voice so smooth it could charm off the pants off a cactus. He is the chosen one in Belgium, winning the first national final in God knows how many years in Belgium. Because of You is the name of the entry. So I guess just sit back, relax, let Gustav transport you to the world of funky beats and smooth tunes. And you might even end up dancing like a cactus with no pants on. But we have now actually, it's probably more of a difficult task sometimes based on some reaction to analyze the song and then share our thoughts, our scores, and everything else. So let's jump right into it. And who should go first? Emma, what are your thoughts on the Belgian entry?
Belgium. I think Belgium is sending a perfect party song this year. And when I first heard it, I have to admit, I wasn't entirely sure what to make of it, other than the fact that it was fun. But it's definitely a grower for me, especially. And I think, how do I say it? It's like Eurodance in a nutshell. I think that the beat is great. It lifts my mood. It almost reminds me like of the best part of the 90s dance music. And it's a great throwback, I think, with like a little bit of a modern twist as well. But Yeah, I will take note that it can come across as a little bit dated, perhaps not for all of us who are very deep in the Eurovision community and are listening to these songs, almost daily leading up to Eurovision. But for the, casual viewer at home, I think that I can see it being a little bit tricky. But Gustav is a great performer and he's very charismatic from what I've seen. And I think he can start like a whole party on stage in Liverpool, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think the Maddox comparison is a very, very accurate one. And I also want to point out Gustav's likability factor is insane. Like, it's, again, he can charm the pants off of anyone, right? There's just something about him. And speaking of pants, I think mine caught fire when I saw the results in Belgium because he was not expected. He came like
Yeah.
third with the jury, second with the, and then was like, did not see. It was like a plot twist in a movie. It was really, really cool. But I live for that. So, but let's not forget also his amazing vocals. Like he has, I know he's been a lot of backup vocals done on Eurovision, but now he gets to stand in front. Like he should have been the performer. His voice is ridiculous. However, there's the but. I have an issue with the lack of originality with this song. It's like they tried and tested a formula, tried to give it a little twist and make it something more fresh, and it just kind of fell flat. It's a little bit more of a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that is kind of how I feel about it. I think Gustav's charm and energy, though, was definitely set this entry apart from a lot of other songs. So, yeah, bring on the glitter. Bring on the dance moves, a catchy tune. But I think while the act is great, the song to me is just average. Everything about it is just a little average to me. Not bad, average. Philip, your thoughts?
Yeah, guys, get ready for another lukewarm take. This fits very well into the whole Eurovision formula. The very very apparent '90s vibes, and as mentioned, it's fun. It's fun, and there's this very clear message of like persistence and love and that kind of stuff. But the song is overall, I don't find it all that memorable. And it doesn't really stand out in a great field of songs. I've seen and heard so much about Gustav being a great performer, and it's very apparent that he does know how to sing. But yeah, it's just not just that good of a song. And as you mentioned, he is very likable, and I do really wish him the best. It seems like it's a dream come true for him. So I actually hope he does well.
Okay, Roy.
It's funny that you mentioned the heart attack with the announcement of the results, because I was really, geez, my voice.
I said my pants were on fire. I didn't say heart attack, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, well, I had a heart attack then, maybe, I guess. I don't know. No, but it was so out of nowhere that he won. I mean, I'm glad that he won over the duet, but I think there was one song who could have done a lot better for Belgium in the competition. But that's besides the point. We're here to talk about Gustav now.
Water, bridge.
Exactly. He's like a very charismatic guy. On the performance, he seemed to have a great time, and I think with a good stage director and a good like team around him who give him guidance and stuff, I think this could come alive very, very nicely. I think it's very catchy. I think it's got a nice hook to it. It's very easy to sing along to. It's just simple. It's just very simple, easy to listen to, easy to digest. I see this sailing through to the final, to be honest. And yeah, I think Belgium have a solid song this year. It might not be one of the front runners, but I think it's solid.
Interesting. So let's see our scores, and then of course we talk to everyone in the chat as well. Who went first? Emma, what's your score?
I gave this song 6.5, and I think if the year was a little bit weaker, I think he could have gone up even a little bit more, maybe a point. But yeah, I feel overall it's a strong year, so I'm just gonna stay at 6.5.
That's nothing to be ashamed of. Mine is a little less kind because I call the song, I think I used the word average, and I think that's reflected in my score. Therefore, 5 points from me, right there in the middle. Philip.
Yeah, I do like happy songs, and it's actually a little bit of a breath of fresh air with all the little slower or a little more depressing songs that is around the song. in the running order, but it is very okay. It's a 5.5.
5.5. All right, Roy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's a solid song, and it won't get a top 5, and that's okay. I don't think Belgium is going for that anyways. I just want to have a decent result, and I think this is the right song for them this year, in hindsight. So I gave it a solid 7.5.
Okay, so Roy definitely bringing up the average on the team a little bit here. But let's see if that was enough for the team score overall. Everyone in the chat, get ready to ask a question if you have any at ESC United. In the meantime, I'm bringing up the score for Belgium from Team United overall. And I cannot find it. There it is. 7.00, smack in the middle at 12th place. Made it exactly to the 7-point mark. So, Roy, it worked. You surprised about this score, or that's what you kind of thought it would be?
I kind of expected it to be a bit lower because people have been a bit more lukewarm. But that also means that there's not that many people who hate this song. Like, I don't see anyone saying, "Oh, out of all the songs this year, I hate Belgium." And like, I didn't expect it to have very big outliers, really. So this makes sense. A 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was actually surprised, not because of me, because that's my personal taste. The response that you see for the most part seemed to be lukewarm for the most part. Some people like it. I don't get a whole lot of love for this one, or see at least online. So there seems to be really a overlooked appeal in the song here that I mean, it got almost the same score as Italy, just barely a few points short of that. So clearly there is a market out there. Or maybe it's just our team. We don't know. But yeah, on our team, certainly it did a little better than we anticipated from what we're hearing. But that's fine. We don't want to be too predictable. So let's see if we have any question. I enjoy this quite a bit. One thing that worries me is the fact that Belgium doesn't have the best track record when it comes to staging their entries. Is that something you're concerned about, Emma, as well? Because they had a hit or miss situation there, right? What are you thinking?
First of all, shout out Vanya. Yeah, I actually kind of agree. I don't think that Belgium I don't feel like Belgium in general has a great track record in Eurovision, at least not in recent years that I can remember. But yeah, I'm kind of worried about it, and I'm a little bit surprised it ended up this high on the scoreboard as well when it comes to ranking it with us here. I didn't expect it in the 12th place, but yeah, well, I mean, we can be surprised. Glitter and sparkles are always welcome in Eurovision, so
We
it
need
can
it.
go.
Yeah, we need some of that. I'm going to give this question to you, Philip. At first, I didn't like Belgium. I still kind of don't feel it, but it's grown on me a certain extent and escaped the bottom of my list. However, he stands out a lot in the second semifinal. Do you think that this could be true to a lot of people? I've seen the comments a lot because Belgium was one of the first countries to select a song. That it's so many people. In German, we have a term called Schönhören, which basically means you listen it pretty, you listen over again, you get used to it, and you start to like it. Do you think that's what's happening here? Is there like an issue with like this will not have the same immediate impact, and it's just like you need to listen to it more for it to really appreciate it?
Yeah, I think you're right. It is a grower song for many, and I feel like it is the thing. But also the good thing about the placement of Belgium is that it's just after I think it was Estonia or something. So it's just like this complete new energy boost that I feel like it's going to help the song a lot. I'm not sure if it's qualifying just yet, but I feel like it is going to be a lot closer than people were saying in the beginning, at least.
True, because in the beginning it was like a certain non-qualifier. Granted, we only had 3 songs then, I think, but it's interesting how things evolve. Roy, one question for you. After 4 songs about depressing love in the semi, this will easily qualify. Do you think that's actually, because the first half of semi 2 is pretty sad. I'm not saying like sad, bad, like, oh, it's so sad, but it's more slower, low key. And I actually thought that Belgium was going to open the semi. It would have been a decent opener as well. But they put it like a little bit there too. Do you think that's going to work in its favor?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it stands out quite a lot. Like I've done this video series on my channel just to plug my channel.
Give the name.
Where
Otherwise, we cannot find you.
Roy PM, subscribe now. No, but I had a bunch of locals react to all of the songs, and I put Belgium kind of in between a few favorites, and surprisingly, they really reacted very big on Belgium. So spoilers for a future episode that's not there yet. But yeah, I think it's really underestimated how much of a pulling power Belgium has, and I think it's more that there were like two big favorites in the Belgian selection that we were all rooting for, and that Gustav all of a sudden just won, that we had such a lukewarm reception to it. But actually, when hearing it in between a lot of other songs, it stands out quite a lot. So I think it has a good chance of qualifying.
Okay, there you have it. So now it's your turn. Go to the description box, click on the link, and give your score. That will be included in the overall score very soon. We just got to go for all things first. So you have about another day or so to vote. So don't miss your window of opportunity. And we going to move on to the next country on our list. And that one is Latvia. And it's Sudden Lights, the band that's like a bolt of lightning, only with more talent, I hope, and less electrocution. These guys are ready to rock the stage with their latest hit, Aya. I hope they're pumped up and they're going to make their country proud. They have been making music for quite some time, for more than a decade to be exact. They won the Latvian show Supernova, topping both the jury and the televote score. So definitely has the country's blessing. But will they get our blessing? There's only one way to find out by us talking about it. So to me, it's like a little like indie rock meets Eurovision. Sign me up for it. Don't see that every day. It's definitely has taken me a bit by surprise. At first, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, I think. The chorus is undeniably catchy and memorable to me, and that is one of the strongest things. I do have some issues with the verses. Therefore, at times it feels a bit disjointed for me, the song. The 3-minute journey is a bit confusing and a bumpy road. But I have a feeling that this is, with a live performance, this will elevate the song to a new level. It's the kind of song that I want to listen to live. And let's not forget about the unique flavor that Sudden Lights will bring to the competition. And in a sea of pop songs, although not as many as this year, but still, a good amount, it's just refreshing to have a band like this in the mix. I think we need that. So while it may not be perfect, it got heart, it got soul, and that counts a lot to me, in my book, at least. So yeah, I do like it. Philip, your thoughts?
Yeah, I find it okay, and I would recommend for people who like the song, and even maybe those who don't really get it, to go watch the acoustic version on the Eurovision channel. That's very good. It encapsulates like the whole thing that the original lacks. I feel like it's. I know. We're rating the competing versions, but that one just has so much more emotion with the more acoustic feel. And I think the thing that is good for Latvia is the singer is very good, and his voice is very good at like presenting emotion, and but I just don't feel like it matched the whole like build up of the song. And maybe it's because my taste in emotional songs is a bit basic, but I just don't see the whole mix and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the composition they chose is just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, that is fair. I don't think you're the only one, but how about you, Roy? Where do you fall?
Oh, what a convenience. No, I actually quite like this song, but it's more because of kind of the math rocky approach they took with this. It's very like indie, the beat is very complex. There's some nice details here and there. I just think it is incredibly uncompetitive. Like, it is just forgettable to a big extent, and I really, really fear for Latvia's chances this year. If you let me listen to about 6 songs already, like just 6, which is a very small batch, I kind of tend to forget about Latvia every single time. And I think that is its biggest hurdle. And the staging is also a bit tough with this one. So while I like it personally, for Eurovision, I'm not sure if this is really going to cut it for Latvia this year.
Oh no. How about you, Emma? Please help us.
Right. I'm your guys' comments made me really sad. I don't even know where to start, because this is like a top 5, actually top 3 even in some cases, depending, contender for me personally. I think I read a comment on YouTube that said basically this is like a masterclass in indie rock music, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think something about this song is just so mesmerizing. It's like all the puzzle pieces click together, fell into place. It's super touching. I can't really explain why, but it's just even a little bit haunting at times. And I would say that's entirely what I'm usually looking for my personal playlist. I think it's just wonderfully crafted and obviously underrated, judging by the odds in the commentary. And I think they might struggle capturing the people who aren't really into this specific style of music. But other than that, I hope this is the song that kind of ends Latvia's non-qualification streak, because for me, a masterpiece.
Oh, okay. So that we're ending on a good note. So let's talk about the points, because that's all that matters. And it's as I said, I do like this song. I personally, it could have been, if it would have been, some of the execution would have worked better for me, but overall it's still a nice song. So I'm giving it 6.5. 6.5 from me. Philip.
Yeah, I just saw a comment saying something like, "This is music for musicians," and I totally get that. It's kind of the feeling I get with this song. Yeah, I'm sorry, Emma. This is not going to qualify. This is a 5.5 out of 10.
It's unfortunate I don't have juries then in semis, huh? Because that's what they needed.
Exactly. That's
Roy,
exactly the
your
point.
score.
That was exactly the point I was going to bring up. Like, if it had juries this year, I would have been a bit more confident about their chances. But I don't think the televoters will get it as much necessarily. Like, I get that Eurovision fans love this one because it's so cool and so indie rock masterclass, like Emma said. But I personally, for Eurovision, gave it a 6.
Okay, well, I'm still in the lead, but I think that is going to change now with Emma's score, I would assume. What did you give it?
I gave it 9.5.
Hey, so short and sweet, 9.5 from Emma. We're going to find out in just a second how the team overall voted. And everyone in the chat, if you have any other thoughts, now is your chance at ESC United so that we can address them. And the thing is so tiny, the font here, it's so hard for me to see. I think this is it. Okay, so here is the score for Latvia from Team United overall. Not just the four of us, but everybody else as well. 6.77. And keep ignoring the Netherlands. I know the numbers are ranking slightly off there. I'll fix that tonight. But 15th place. So it's lower middle, I guess, right now. Emma, I got to go back to you. I know that you are in love with that song. Knowing what you know about the song and how people responded, you think this is what you thought? Were you hoping for more?
I was personally hoping for more, but as I think Roy said earlier, obviously, like, we're talking Eurovision audience, we're talking different style of music that is prevalent right now, at least. And I think indie rock generally doesn't do well in Eurovision, so I completely understand this. And I think, mid scoreboard is perfectly expected in this case. Yeah, I don't know.
It could have been worse, I will say. And it sounds like I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I really meant it because it is very like non-Eurovision friendly in many ways. It is indie rock. It is not the most song that grabs you unless you really jive with it, as Emma said. So getting a 6.77, for a song that may, relies heavily probably on a feel, I think that's still a pretty good score, even if, someone like Emma probably would have liked higher. I can still see this one not being a disappointing result. So maybe it's glass half full on my end here. Let's take a look if there are any comments. Now, this is more of a comment, but I will ask you that. Roy, I'm going to start with you. I hope Latvia is going to qualify for the first time since 2016, which is correct. They haven't qualified in a long time. Do you think this is the most likely chance for them to qualify? Based on your comments, I would say no. Plus, it's the first semi, right?
Yeah, it's the first semi. It's televote only. It's in a really, really bad running order slot. Like, I don't think they could have gotten a worse one. Is it third, right? Yeah. This is historically
Fourth.
Also statistically
Right?
fourth.
I think, right? Yeah, fourth in the running order, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
and
that makes sense. Either way, like, they're not in a nice slot between songs either, and yeah, I really fear for them. I would maybe not even be surprised if they come dead last in the semi. But hey, I hope I'm wrong because I like the song. So I hope they prove me wrong.
Philip, do you think that if Latvia would have been in the second semifinal, what would you think would the chances be to qualify from the second semifinal? I know it's going to be tough in the first. We all probably agree on that. But if, the universe would have been more kind to them, do you think that would have been a shot?
Of course, the chances would be better because I feel like, and I have the opinion that semifinal 2 is the weaker semifinal of the two. But yeah, no, I don't. I just don't see it qualifying. I just don't see it captivating that many. But it did in Latvia, so we'll see. Yeah.
And this is a comment I want to share because it was similar to what I feel. It's an emotional pull, and the lyrics are beautiful. My problem is with the song, it's a bit off in its rhythm. I see why people like it. The musicianship, I just can't get fully into. I think I use a similar term. I think I said disjointed. There was a little bit of, where it just froze me a little bit. And I think that's exactly what it is as well. So I can relate to your comment. So as always, go into the description box, click on Latvia, give it your score, and you have about 24 hours. And then once all of the results are in, I will put the results up. So I hope you look forward to that. And if you don't, whoop-de-doo. So we are moving on now to our next country. Where is my smart list? It's gone. Oh, it's Moldova. So yes, let's talk about Moldova at Eurovision 2023. And we all know that Pasha Parfeni, he is back. I always think that it's a man that sounds like a fancy cheese, actually, but he sings like a superstar to me. You got the looks, the voice, the charm of a Moldovan heartthrob, and when he sings Soale Se Luna, he's demanding our attention. Now, we'll find out in a moment if Team United is willing to pay attention, though. And if you're new to the contest, you're a new fan, as a reminder, Pasha previously represented Moldova in 2012 with Lauda, and he finished in random trivia. Who remembers what place he ended up in? 11th. I expect more next time. You all need to become back prepared, okay? I'm kidding. So yeah, so that is what we have here. So let's talk about this. Do we like it? Do we not? And of course, at the very end, where are we going to put it in our ranking? Roy, you get to go first. Your thoughts on Moldova?
Yeah, they made the right choice this year. And Moldova is one of those powerhouses in Eurovision that people don't. I mean, now people start to talk more about him because we talk more about them. But this is another one of those songs that can really go out with the staging with, because they are usually the country that have a song that's maybe not perfect for Eurovision, but then craft something amazing with a great staging around it. And with this, the song even is quite good because it's just a simple, good bass line and a nice EDM kind of song. He sings it quite well. I think the performance was quite good as well in the selection. Of course, the Moldovan sound might not be as good as it would be in Eurovision. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what Moldova bring this year to the staging. So yeah, great song.
Moldova got the blessing from Roy, and I must agree with everything you're saying, actually. It to me, first of all, Pasha's entry is definitely a standout in terms of like haunting and the eerie quality that it has to a certain extent. It's refreshing to see that it doesn't just rely on catchiness and mainstream appeal. It's still catchy enough, that melody, you remember it. But instead it prioritized like a little bit of a storytelling and an atmosphere, and I just give it a whole lot of props for that. I will say the staging will play a big role in bringing the song to life, creating a very memorable experience for this audience. And Moldova has a reputation of delivering stunning and creative visuals, so I'm not worried about that. I have high hopes for this one, actually. And while this may not be a song that I put on repeat in the studio version, like I don't go in there and like, let me listen to that one again. I just appreciate it for its uniqueness and just a contribution to the diversity of this year's lineup. So it's a good, solid song, and I think Moldova should be very proud. It's just a great addition. That's basically how I would summarize it. How about you, Philip?
Yeah, it's very different from his entry in 2012, and I feel like I like the song with the entire vibe of the folk inspiration and the cultural elements within the song, and they managed to give it this modern twist with the EDM references and the flute. it kind of reminds me, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but Ukraine 2021 with the whole flute and the EDM kind of feel. And I think it manages to give this the mixing and folk and EDM. It gives a good, solid attempt, and it does it in Romanian as well. But I feel like as many songs struggle with a bit, it's the repetitiveness, and I feel like it becomes a bit repetitive to me at times with the vocals and the flute. But yeah, the performance with Moldova was a bit lackluster, but everything was lackluster with the Moldovan national final. So yeah, I don't really blame him for that. I feel like it's a very good song, and I do see it doing better than most people would expect. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good insight. Emma.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here, and most of them agree with what Roy said earlier already. But yeah, I think that we should all probably agree at this point and accept the fact that Moldova is somewhat of a Eurovision powerhouse. I think that this song is something else, and this is exactly what I say when I say I want something different, experimental a little bit at the same time. I understand it can sometimes or oftentimes actually be a very hard feat to achieve, but I think this is exactly how you do it. And it has this forest rave energy, and I think I'm only concerned that it's going to have the same fate that Fulen had last year, because I was so disappointed with France's result with Fulen. I think they deserved so much more, and I think that. Yeah, we agree. I just think that I love the fact that Moldova is taking these risks. They never sent something quite similar that I can remember, at least, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. Now let's find out our points. Roy, what did you give Moldova?
Oh wait, I need to pull up my little sheet here. I gave Moldova a nice solid 8. I think it's a great song. It's just deserving of an 8.
Well, I'm very close to what you gave it. I gave it 7.5. It's just a good song, and I just said I want to get Philip really made a good point about the certain parts. It does get a little bit the same repetitive in certain parts, and I wish I would have maybe switched up like sound wise with the flute and all that stuff, but it's still a good song. Philip.
Yeah, I saw people in the comments, and I think I just want to clarify. I don't feel like the song is as good as Ukraine 2021. It is a good song. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emma.
I'm also reading the comments, and I'm reading this comment by Maria Bueno, I think. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. This is what people want from Eurovision: ethnic music with a twist. Not in all cases, but I think I generally tend to agree. I love when they're representing their cultural vibes well. And yeah, this track just transports me into a whole different plane of existence. So 9 points.
Yeah, I do see 9 points. Hot damn. So yeah, I see a lot of people giving their score 7, 7, 8, 8.5, 8, 7, 5, 5. So it doesn't look like anyone lower than 5. Mostly like in the 7-point range. So everyone else in the chat, if you have any other question, at ESC United, while I am bringing up the Team United score. Gosh, I cannot read this.
Take an eyesight test.
No, it's not the eyesight. It's like it's just they made it so they did an update, and now it's so tiny. And I'm so terrified. I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
And you get spoilers. I get it.
Actually, it's funny. I do need glasses. I'm gonna have an appointment after I get back from Eurovision. But that's not it. Glasses would not help here. All right, here we go. 6th place, 7.49. That's a great result for Moldova. Just missing out on the top 5 in our ranking. Of course, keep in mind there are more songs to come still. I think 11, 12, something like that. So there's still, but for others to catch up. But gotta go to you, Emma, as I think the highest score. You good with this? You happy?
I'm very happy with this, and almost like I didn't expect it. But I'm very, very happy with this. Very satisfied. 6th place is just right. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Philip? You think this is a pleasant surprise, or you thought it would be a little lower? I mean, it beat some big hitters here, that we expected. No. So
Yeah, as I mentioned, I feel like this is going to do much better than people actually think. This is going to perform very, very well and reach the final, of course. And this rating kind of proves that with Moldova also being very good at staging in the recent years. I feel like this is going to be a surprise for many.
yeah, maybe they'll bring the Sand Lady back. So that always works, right?
Don't do that, okay? Anything is fine. Don't do that.
Yeah. So that's what we have. Let me see here. It's different from Lauda, but I like Pasha went for something different. It's qualifying. I have no doubt about it. Moldova doesn't disappoint with staging. They understand Eurovision. So Moldova also in the tough semifinal, right? The first semifinal, if I'm not mistaken. Is there anyone, just raise your hand, that thinks there is a chance that Moldova will not qualify? A likely chance, I should say. I mean, it's always a chance. That's fair. A likely chance. I don't think so either. I think this seems more one of the more likely qualifiers from what I'm seeing here as well. So I think that is what the overall consensus is in here as well. So yeah, that is what we have for Moldova. And now go ahead and vote. I have the link in the description box. What score do you think Moldova deserves? If we're right, vote the same way. If you think it should be higher or lower, you can do that as well. And I'll share with you that. Somebody in the chat earlier said, well, you only give the songs tomorrow only an hour to vote. No, they all have at least 24 hours. So even the show tomorrow, you have at least 24 hours to vote. And I'll put up the links actually tonight. So if you paid attention, what 9 songs will be left. So, but for now, I think we should move on to the next country. We got a few more, and that is the country that won the contest last year with Stefania, and that is Ukraine. And no introduction needed to that country, of course. But, of course, the band we do. It's the band that's tougher than nails and has a heart of steel. But don't worry, they won't rust in the rain. Tvorchi is the epitome of cool. They have leather jackets, sunglasses, the haircuts that scream superstar. At least in my book, I always envision it that way. Now, since Ukraine won last year, they are already pre-qualified. So the guys have a ticket straight to the grand final. Can Ukraine continue their amazing streak at the contest? Well, for now, let's focus on what we think about the song, because we are not here necessarily to predict, but to talk about what we think of the song. Philip, what are your thoughts of Heart of Steel?
Yeah, this song is made for me. I kind of feel like that. My Spotify is like people like The Weeknd and Khalid, and this just fits right into my usual streaming experience. Heart of Steel goes straight into my heart. The inspirations of R&B are very, very apparent, and it works very well. I haven't found a song in Eurovision recently that's so easy to jam to. With me being a dancer and that kind of stuff, it just works very well. And I know that there's still some discussion with there's going to be sympathy votes with the Ukraine war still going on. Don't think it's going to be that much of a problem this time around, but if it gets a lot of points, I feel like it deserves it. This is phenomenal, and the revamp was very good. I love the incorporation of the Ukrainian language, and the violin segment was very good. In the ending of the second chorus, it just screams coolness and effortlessly toughness. I feel like this is almost perfect. Yeah, this is a very, very good song.
Okay, so good start again, this time for Ukraine. Emma, what are your thoughts?
Right. So when this song first came out, Heart of Steel was actually not really something I was into. And the more other songs were coming out, I think that it kind of dwindled more on my list. However, I think I completely underestimated it. And I think a huge part of what happens with songs when they first come out so early is that they get a little bit lost in everything else that comes after it. And it kind of reminds me of the logic behind the Eurovision running order as well, right? But when I think of this song, and when I came back to it, it has everything that is modern and familiar. I think the bass is incredible, very catchy beat, and even better hook and powerful lyrics. So it has to be one of my favorite Ukrainian entries. Actually, just a vibey song, really.
Wow. Okay. So far, so good. Yeah, I would say when Heart of Steel won the national final, I was not underwhelmed. I certainly wasn't overwhelmed. I call it like whelmed. It was right there. I thought there were songs that grabbed me initially more in the national final, but I was okay with it winning. But ever since the revamped version was released, I was like, it torches steadily climbed up in my ranking every day. It's the only R&B adjacent song that's basically in the running. It definitely is a refreshing change of pace among the other entries, and it's quite smooth actually. And I dig the singer's vibes. He's like a cool as a cucumber kind of dude, right? And it just absolutely works for the song. He's a perfect artist for that. You listen to the song, and it's just like it's good. It's just really, really good. I'm a bit worried though. I'm worried that's a song that people like me. It's really good, but will not vote for it. Like it's just kind of like in that spot that just doesn't grab enough people. But we all know for one thing is Ukraine knows how to stage a song. So this will look amazing, and I have actually quite high hopes for it as well. So in my book, Ukraine sending another respectable song to the contest, and while it may not be setting the scoreboards or the record books on fire with this, it will not flop. It'll not flop. So Ukraine, job well done. That's what I'm thinking. Roy.
Yeah, you guys already nearly said everything I wanted to say.
Okay.
It's a really good song. Like I was a bit underwhelmed as well when it won, but I really started to appreciate it more and more when the new version came out, and already a little bit before that actually. I really love his voice. Like his voice has some nice warmth to it. Like you just want to give him a cuddle, and you're just like, yeah, let's vibe to this song. And it's something we don't really see too often in Eurovision either. Like very much the R&B kind of vibe with nice electronics in it. I love the organ kind of playing along with the violin in the ending. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And I hope some casuals will resonate with it. Like picture a family and like this grumpy brother is just sitting on the side and be like, oh, I don't want to watch Eurovision, and be like, oh, actually, this is kind of a cool song. I might vote for this one then. So yeah, hoping for that a little bit. I really dig it from Ukraine this year.
All right, let's get into the scores. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the reviews because, Emma, as you correctly pointed out, I think the impact was, was selected so early that people stopped talking about Ukraine a lot. So it seems it was on no one's radar. But let's see how it scores first. Philip, what did you give it?
Yeah, I will not stop praising the song. This is people are gonna slaughter me for this. This is the best Ukrainian song ever. This is a 9.5 out of 10.
Dang, so Philip loves it. That's important to hear though, because there are people out there that certainly love this. Who was next? I think you, Emma. Yeah, go ahead. What's your score?
Yeah, I think I heard the remix yesterday, right? And I think the remix was even better than the original.
Oh, really?
I loved it. Oh wait, hold on. Let me just check my my scores. Right, I gave Ukraine 7 points, but I think maybe with the remix I would have even gotten higher. But 7 for now.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's still good so far. We should expect a 7+ from Ukraine if this holds, because I am giving a 7.5. Just a really good song. Nothing else to add. Roy.
Yeah, when you say about a remix, it really makes me remember why I wasn't really that enthused by it immediately, because they make usually a bit more of an EDM kind of songs. And especially like the last time they participated in the national final as well, it was like a bonfire song, which was really, really cool. Anyways, I love this song. It's really, really good. And I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. So, does the rest of the team agree with the four of us, or are we being overruled? Everyone in the chat, get ready to post your questions or thoughts at ESC United. Here is the Ukraine score from ESC United. 12th place, 7.10. Philip, not cool? Or you expected that?
Yeah, this is not right. But fair enough. Maybe people just don't get art yet. We'll see. I like this a lot.
Yeah. Roy, were you thinking this is kind of where it should be, lower, or like expected it to be?
Oh, this is not where it should be, but this is where I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I think we're a bit of outliers on our team, probably, that we all really like it a lot. And I think there's a few more people who are just like kind of lukewarm with it, and I can understand that. It's not necessarily something you see that often in Eurovision either. So yeah, I understand the score.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of expecting it to be in the 6 point, upper at 6 points. So this is actually pretty good. I do think it's the kind of song that I think that will really, and with Ukraine, we know they always find a way to make this look really, really cool. Let's see some comments here. Vanya saying, Ukraine song is epitome of cool. I enjoyed. I love this type of music. However, I do feel that it didn't reach its full potential musically speaking. Roy, is there anything that you should have done different with the song, or that it just either clicks with you or not? Do you think there's something specifically missing in the song, like a proper hook, a key change?
I don't think a key change.
I know I'm being silly, but we need key change at Eurovision.
Yeah. Not really. I can see where Fanya is coming from here, because I initially really had the same as well. I just felt like something was missing, but then I just couldn't really think about what was missing, and then I was just, you know what, maybe just not try to find out what I'm missing and just really listen to the song and enjoy it, and that's when I really start to appreciate it even more. And I was just like, let's just vibe to it, let's just have fun, and yeah.
Emma, what do you think about Ukraine being third in the odds? Of course, there's the reason that they're talking about the, what happened last year, the sympathy vote. What are your thoughts on them being that high?
Right. I'm a little bit surprised they're that high, though. I think I mentioned earlier that we do have a really strong year this year. It didn't appear so in the beginning, but I think now we're sort of there already. And I think we have a very, very good, strong year. And Heart of Steel, for me personally, does feel a little bit like it's, missing a little bit of something. So that's why I'm a little bit surprised is that's high in the odds. But other than that, I mean, it's a song that you very easily loved, and it's a song that very easily can end up on your playlist. So maybe it's not that strange, actually, that people love it so much, Maybe it's just what it is. So yeah.
Can I add to that like a lot of things with the odds is that people just put money on a song to win. And there is a lot of betting people who don't really know that much about Eurovision, and they just take hooks to find things why it could win Eurovision. So it might be very much still a sympathy vote of like
the leftovers of the
exactly.
And it dropped a lot. So already
and that's probably why it is so high in the odds. It's just reflective by how much money has been put into betting on that song already, and I don't think it's necessarily reflective of the song itself.
Yeah. One people need to also remember betting odds do not reflect the actual ranking prediction.
No.
Because it's just 7% of people think that Ukraine will win for whatever reason, whether it's the song, whether it's the circumstances. What?
Not really. It's like
what?
It's like the seventh most likely song to win. Then, if it's 7%, it means I guess you could say it like that. It's just really difficult because it's like a fine line of how it actually should be interpreted. But yeah,
right. But yeah, the 7th. Yeah, well, it's like 7% think this is going to win the in terms of third most likely to win, but that doesn't mean it's going to come third in the ranking. Like because there are songs that I could say I can easily see that song making the top 3, but it would never win, right? So, but that's kind of like kind of how.
Yeah, it's kind of like what here. I would be baffled if Ukraine somehow managed to win again. And I don't think that the odds necessarily reflect that either. It's basically just people betting. So yeah, I don't think there is a chance of victory, if I'm being honest. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we shall see. And then one last one I wanted to bring up here real quick, because it's through post rehearsals. Odds have been very accurate recently, very accurate. It is true that once rehearsals kick off, that's where things fall into place a whole lot more. Right now, we don't know the feel, the vibes. Things go up and down. It doesn't always come out that way, but recently, Ukraine was a different story last year, but Italy shot up to the top of the betting odds when it was time. Netherlands was always high up there. From the beginning, it was one of the few that didn't change. Israel was really high up, but then it dropped actually because everyone thought Fuego was going to win. But so there's a lot going on. But yeah, you are absolutely right. But we got more to talk about. We got a couple more countries to go through, and the next country on my list is probably a lot of people wanted to hear more about. So why not talk about it? And the country on my list is Austria. And it's Taya and Selena. They got the attitude, the style, and even more attitude. And when they think, who the hell is Edgar? You'll be wondering the same thing, because these ladies will have you mesmerized. You'll forget your own name. But hey, they're certainly not afraid to speak their own mind. They call anyone out who tries to mess with them, even Edgar, whoever he is. So just sit back, relax, be ready to be blown away by this fierce musical talent of Taya and Selena, and maybe along the way, we'll find out who the hell Edgar actually is. So the question is, do we like the song or not? Because ultimately, we can talk all day long. It's all about the scores. But before we get to that, who do I want to go first? Emma, what are your thoughts on Edgar?
My thoughts are that there's definitely a ghost in my body.
There is.
Because, from the moment I heard this for the first time, I could not stop listening to this. It's even on my repeat playlist. I think it's very fresh, very quirky. What I really find important when it comes to this song, or not this song, I think songs in Eurovision in general, is that the audience can sing with along with the performer, and I think that's exactly the case with this one. It works in Eurovision. It works as a perfect pop song as well, generally speaking, and I think that oddly so, it has so much character and so much personality, and I think there's very good chemistry between Taya and Selena. They really know how to deliver this song, and the chemistry is just palpable. And I think that for a song of this caliber, that's very important for it to work. A little bit unhinged as well.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Philip, would love to hear your thoughts. You were already dancing, it seems like it, while we were talking. Oh, what's going on?
I just had to charge my phone, so unless I would have dropped out of the stream. So yeah, I was possessed by Edgar. Yeah, who the hell is Edgar, and what the hell is this song? This is the most out there thing that when I started to listen to it, I was completely speechless. It is so earwormy, but at the same time so weird. And I've heard they are very good live as well. I feel like this is one of them, the other underdog stories that might actually have a chance, not at winning, but at least at coming like a 5th place or something. This can do very, very well. Yeah, I just find the only thing I find is that the beginning is a bit preachy to me, and I always skip the first 20 seconds, because it just becomes the way they describe Edgar Allan Poe is just a bit too preachy. And I am very much a fan of them both. I've heard a lot of stories about them responding to every DM they get. They're very humble and that kind of stuff. I find them very likable. But yeah, it's a weird song, but at the end of the day, that po just doesn't leave my head. So it is still very good.
Okay, interesting. Okay, hear me out. In my opinion,
Oh boy.
and this might be a bit controversial. Look, a lot of people are saying the lyrics, they're genius. They're so clever. But I'm like, really? Po, 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 po. There's a ghost in my body. I'm like, no. I'm not quite on the hype train. Let's put it that way. However, I must admit that the song has some catchy moments. I absolutely do. And it may not be as much of a cup of tea as I thought. When I first did my reaction videos, I either going to hate it or I'm going to love it. I was very confused. And I was wrong. I just like it enough. But I just don't think it is as wild as some people feel about it. I'm actually surprised that I'm not in love with it as much as some people are, I guess, because I really wanted to, because there's so many get excited. But nevertheless, despite this, I will applaud Austria just for taking a risk, sending a song that is not a safe option, because this could have completely fallen apart, right? This was a risk. People, fortunately, it seems like it paid off. Well, we don't know the results yet, but at least in the initial hype, at least. I just don't know. I'm not as convinced or certain how this will actually come across at Eurovision in Liverpool. I'm a bit more nervous about it. On the other hand, if you love the song, don't be deterred by it, because it's just one doubter here. And I don't know, but that might surprise me in the end. I'm still open to be embraced by the song. I just, again, the hype train just left the station and I was too late. I will not lie, though. It has its catchy moments, as I said. And at the same time, I just don't find it even as catchy as some people. Like even the po-po part, I'm like, yeah, po-po. It just doesn't get stuck in my head as much. I enjoy when it's on, and I do dance to it when it's on. But I still think I personally find other songs more clever and more interesting. So, but and I'm kind of bummed out because it's such a popular song. I still like it though. Roy.
Yeah, let's forget about everything you just said and let's just continue the hype train of Edgar Allan Poe. Yes, let's go. I get what you say with the lyrics, that the Poe part is a bit like whatever, but I think the power of this song is really in the verses. It's like kind of the fourth wall breaking kind of thing. The lines about Spotify only playing like 3 or 0.03 cents per stream. I think those kind of lyrics are really cool and really quirky and something I really like, because usually I'm not much of a lyrics guy, and I really like these lyrics. I do agree with you, Matt. As much as I love this song, I have maybe put like 0.5 off my score because I am a bit afraid of the live performance. I'm not sure how they're gonna stage it, because like it's a cool song, it's a cool concept, but how are you gonna make this come across in just 3 minutes on that stage? I'm struggling a little bit to envision that, but I hope they can come up with something cool. And they're in the easier, nothing is easy at Eurovision semi-final. So yeah, I hope they can do it with this song. It'd be really cool.
All right, so I anticipate to be overruled here when it comes to the score. So let's just do it real quick, which is good. I'm all for it. Emma, what's your score?
Right. I totally disagree with you, actually, lyrically, at least, what you said about the lyrics of the song. I don't think it matters in this case, especially because it's a televote in the semis. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind handing over the victory trophy to Austria this year. I will give it a 9.5, though.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that is certainly a lot. Philip.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you a bit, Matt. I don't find it that clever, but it's easy lyrics to understand, and that gets you far in Eurovision, I feel. And it is an earworm, and I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. It's a 7.5 for me.
7.5. Yeah, and keep in mind also when I say that, I don't think it's going to impact the televote at all. It's not going to matter. It's just, to me, I don't find it as like stimulating listening to the lyrics. So, but that's just me. Overall, again, I like it enough. So 6.5. That's my score. Roy.
Yeah, if it was just my opinion, I would have given it, or just like the city of, I would give it a 9. But like I said, I distracted like kind of 0.5 from the score because I'm just a bit unsure about how the live will be. So I gave it an 8.5 at the end.
All right. And any comments in the chat? Get ready at ESC. I'm scared to look at it. I haven't had a chance yet because, people will probably rip me apart. But that's okay. It's just my thing. If, I'm rooting for every song, all the artists, they deserve all the love and respect in my book. So, but where does Austria end up in our ranking? The 4 of us voted and the rest of the team as well. So this is not our score. So Austria received from Team United. Are you ready? Hold on to your wigs. It is our new number 1.
Dang.
I actually had to count like a few times. I'm like, yeah, it actually ended up on our top currently.
Let's
so
go.
Emma, are you going to give me in your face, Matt, on this one, huh?
No, not at all, actually. I'm just very, very happy. I would give them definitely the victory trophy because it's so like out of the left field, I feel. I mean, comparing it to like the fan favorites, Sweden and Finland, for example. So I'm very happy with this.
Yeah, it is immensely popular with our team. Roy, your thoughts?
I mean, I love to see it. Weren't we last year right as well? Didn't we have Ukraine as our winner, or was it a different
No, we didn't have Ukraine as a winner. We had actually Sweden as a winner.
Oh,
that's yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we usually like the winners usually in the higher echelons of our rankings, I think. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I did not expect it to be this high, to be honest. Like that's a bit mental. I know a lot of the guys kind of like the lyrics of this song, I guess. I don't know. I can picture a lot of the people from our team really, really loving this song, and I think that really reflects in this score.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I didn't expect it to come first at this point. Keep in mind, there's still 10 countries left, anything's possible. I did not do anything strategically. It was completely random. That's why Sweden was first. You know, if I would have done strategically, Sweden would have not been the first country on our list to go. But yeah, so I was surprised about first place. I can say upset about it because, you know, it's just my personal taste. But I like the fact that we're a little bit unpredictable, our team. Because last year, our ranking was a little bit more like predictable, I guess. So, but hey, we shall see. So now it is time just for a quick minute. I'm dying to hear what the people have to say. Okay, my screen is a little frozen. Okay. So, hopefully, I think the juries will kill it. So, Sebastian, I have a feeling that you are not a fan of the song. Philip, but like, I think it's a fair bet to say, I mean, you never know, right? There's never 100% chance, but I think the odds of Austria qualifying from the semi-2 are pretty big. Do you think there is a universe where Austria can do well with the juries, or you think this is just not going to happen?
Yeah, I see. It can, because there was this change recently, right? With it's not the sound of the voice, but it's the vocal performance. No, it's not the vocal performance, but the feeling of the song. I don't remember. It's a different thing they're voting on now. It's not the actual the voice. So it can actually, I think, do a little bit better with the juries. Not that they're singing badly in any way, but it's more like a performance than a ballad per se.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it can do better with the juries than before the change was made, but it is a televote song.
It is I think that is a good way to summarize it for sure. I'm hanging out on the quiet train platform with you, Matt. All right, great. We're gonna just wait for the next train and break into the vending machine, grabbing some Kit Kats. Yeah. And again, I still like it. You know, I'm just a little bit surprised that people are going that crazy over it, but that's just the beauty about Eurovision. You know, there's music for everyone out there. So Austria, our current #1, again, 10 songs still battling it out. One of them may dethrone it. Vote in our poll as well, by the way. If you agree, give it more points. If you think it's a little too high, whatever, you know, you can do that as well. Or just vote based on what you think is right. Don't let anybody else's opinion influence you. Just give the score that you think is appropriate. And we got one more video. I'm reading because my system is going to freeze again. It does that at the very end of the live stream. But the last one we have of the evening is Ireland. And please welcome the band that's wilder than a pack of feral cats and more youthful than a toddler on a sugar high. It's Wild Youth. Don't you like my poetry here? When they sing "We Are One," you'll feel like you're part of the gang, even if you're secretly still listening to ABBA on your iPod Shuffle. And the song is inspired by the mission that the Eurovision Song Contest brings unity to Europe, hoping that the song would bring a message to peace to people, basically. So, how are we jiving with it, Emma?
Yes, so I think that you described that very well. I think that this song feels very much, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels very much like some sort of like an anthem a little bit. I can hear this being played for like the Olympics or like a sports event or something like that. It's got the overall like, this is a very hyped up, positive vibes kind of a song. And I think Ireland might be a little bit of an underdog a bit because of it, because it's just the sound that we are so used to already. And it's giving a lot of the same energy from the 2010s. Not necessarily a bad thing, for me at least, but I think it might become something they struggle with compared to the rest of the entries from other countries. Like, is it memorable enough? You know, can they overcome the cliches? I think we have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Roy?
Yeah, I think this is one of the most underrated songs of the year, to be honest. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this song a little bit. Because it's just the type of song you could just throw on the radio and you'll be like bopping along, having your window down, just be like, "We are one." And it's very anthemic. The guys are quite like charismatic as well. I think on the stage this could look really cool. Is it the best song out there though? Lyrically, no. Instrumentally, no. But I think it can do a lot better than a lot of people expect. So I think a solid choice for Ireland. Definitely the choice they should have made. And yeah, it's good. It's good.
Interesting to hear the two of you talk about it. So every time the only thing that makes me feel more nostalgic is about the song if I listen to it on a cassette tape. It just has a little bit of that retro vibe to be like, oh, you have like your streamers on your handlebars on the bike, you know, like they had back in the day. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun tune, but it's as modern as a rotary phone. I don't know, you know, something really old. It feels like so outdated to me. It's like, let's send a song that is so safe, it needs a seatbelt. And Ireland is consistent in their Eurovision approach, right? It's like consistently sending songs that are not competitive. And I feel like that is exactly what we're getting stuck here. And despite some of my snarky comments, though, that I had here, I do like the song, actually. I just feels like Ireland got stuck in the past. And my favorite part is, as you pointed out, Roy, it has like an anthem-like feel of the chorus. And the message of the song is so uplifting. And I'm all about positivity. I just think, you know, because everything sucks anyway. So when you have like something so uplifting, it makes me like, oh. But then again, not competitive. And there are so many songs I like to talk about and listen to before I get to We Are One. So I'm afraid also I'm not the only one who feels that way. So I don't know about Ireland. I'm not. It's fine. It's fine. Philip.
Yeah, I get the whole dated retro thing. I feel like the song is also very overlooked. But yeah, the lyrics are corny. They are very, very, very corny. But I just feel happy when I hear the song. It makes me feel good, and that's what a song needs to do for me. I can't help to sing along with the whole chorus, but it can become a bit forgettable, especially with the verses. I don't feel like I couldn't say a word from the verses by heart at this current moment, and that it is a problem. I feel like the singer, his voice is very good. His very nasally sort of voice. I feel like it gives it a little bit of a different feel than the usual pop rock kind of song. But yeah, I hope they're gonna do all right at Eurovision. Yeah, I hope. I don't feel like.
Oh,
He froze on my end. Is it just me?
He's freezing on my end as well.
yeah.
Okay.
And as well.
All right. The suspense. All right. We'll
He's
move
back,
on until
he's back.
there you are. There you are. All right. So let's jump into the points then real quick. Emma, what's your score for Ireland?
I'm gonna give it a 7, but I'm not sure they can really pull it off. But I want to stay optimistic. I think in this case, we'll see. Overall, I personally like it. Do I like it that much? Not really, but yeah, staying optimistic.
Staying optimistic. Yeah, to me, it's a fine song. Once again, I do not dislike it. I like it well enough, but it's average. And I know my song, I just had so many analogies for the song. I'm like, I'm sounding really rude. But I just, you know, I said I do like the song, but it's not, you know, competitive. So 5 points from me. Roy.
I don't think it's not competitive, actually. I think with the anthemic feel, I can really envision a staging. I think I could do decently. Yeah, I gave it a 7 as well. I think it's very underrated. Just watch out for Ireland. It might surprise a few people.
Okay, and last but not least, Philip, what's your score? I can't hear him. Can you guys hear him?
No, I
I
think
think
he's
he's
muted
muted.
himself, maybe.
I think you muted yourself, Philip.
Oh,
He keeps talking. He cannot hear us.
we're probably frozen for him.
We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. Hello?
Refresh
Hello?
the page. Hello.
7.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
okay.
Okay.
You need a real stamp there. 7 points coming from Philip. We're very professional here. So that's the score. It seems like maybe Ireland won't be as disastrous a score because now the four 4 of us voted, everyone on the team. And here is the final score from Ireland. And it is 5.25. So it's closer to what I said. 5.25. So my 5 pointers. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I was actually thinking initially, because I keep forgetting the scores. I don't memorize them all. I'm like, maybe it was higher than I remembered. But I think this is kind of expected and reasonable for me. Emma, did you think it was going to be a little higher, or you knew that this was a potential bottom 5? Bottom 5.
Sorry to say that, but I definitely knew it was going to be at the bottom. I personally wanted to stay optimistic because I don't really mind this song as opposed to some that I rated lower. But yeah, I knew it was probably going to stay until, towards the bottom.
Yeah. Same thing, Roy?
Yeah, I know not a lot of people have this very high on their list, and I know a lot of people don't like this song that much. So I expected it to be quite low as well. I expected me to be quite the optimistic one, and I mean, I gave it a 7, which is not insanely high either. So I can't really save it that much in that regard, I guess. So it makes sense. Unfortunate, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. And once again, we all have 28 out of 37 entries on here. So that could all still change. Bottom 5, maybe they'll get out of it. You can also help, because we are only 1/2 of the results. You can go in the description box. There is a link that you can use to vote. So please do so while you can, before we run out of time, of course, or you run out of time. And before we keep going, just real quick, let's go through the list real quick of the songs, the ranking so far. So once again, Austria is currently our number 1, Team United, with 8.34, followed by Sweden, 8.30, Slovenia, 8.17, then Australia, Norway. Let you look at it for a second. Let's move on to the second middle, or the second middle to the center. Malta, 11, Germany, Ukraine, and there's Cyprus and the Netherlands. Again, Netherlands is a little lower, I think. So I got to fix that. And then, as you just saw, this is the rest of the best. Going to you first, Emma. Looking at the current ranking, your biggest surprise or disappointment in the list so far? It's the one that stands out to you the most.
I don't see the whole. I don't see the whole list though. Okay, got it.
Which one? Yeah.
Biggest surprise? Do you mean from this batch?
Like, yeah, that should. Like, I'm so glad that this song did better than I anticipated, or I'm so sad that this song did not do so well in our ranking.
Right. Okay. So I'm so glad that Moldova did better than I anticipated, because I wasn't sure people would really rave about it. Pun not intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely my biggest surprise would be probably Moldova, and I love that it did so well.
How about you, Roy?
Yeah. I don't know. I saw Romania low, which is a bit my personal unfortunate.
But did you expect it to be this low? Like, are you surprised?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's not the best song. I just love it. So that's the thing. Maybe I expected Armenia a bit higher, actually. I think a lot of people online I've seen quite a lot of praise for Armenia. So maybe something like that could have been a bit higher. And on the high end, I mean, Austria at number 1, I would not have expected that. I mean, we still need to review Finland. I think that's being done tomorrow. I mean, I'm not saying that that's going to be the big one, but it's probably the one people expected Sweden to fight with. But apparently, Team United think Austria is the one Sweden fights with, and I didn't expect that. So that's cool.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Philip?
Yeah, I'm back.
Welcome back. My question was, I'm not sure if you saw the entire list, but is there a song in our ranking, or like that you're very pleasantly surprised or disappointed by the ranking, like one that stands out the most to you?
Yeah, I do feel like, it's a bit of a, Austria shouldn't be number 1 in my opinion. I like Austria's song, but personally Sweden is just miles better. That's just a personal opinion. Maybe in Austria could be like a 5th place for me. And yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by a few of them. I like Slovenia being 3rd. That's very good to see. I'm a big fan of that song.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of people. That's actually a really good ranking for Slovenia. I mean, people really like it, but it seems like our team really likes it. Again, breaking the 8-point mark is pretty impressive. Yeah, I can only echo what some of you said already. Austria is the biggest surprise to me. I'm like, I need to check the scores again. But yeah, that is certainly a big surprise to me, and probably the biggest one of them all. Other than that, Malta is actually doing quite well with not as much hype around it.
As
What do
it
you think?
should. As it should.
Well, I don't disagree. I gotta give it a really high score if you watch the video. So yeah, so that was a pleasant surprise for me as well. So any other thoughts in the chat at ESC United, or any questions for us? Let us know. We have like just a few more minutes, and then we'll go from there. And it's always very important at ESC United, so I can easily catch them. So somebody says, thanks for going easy on Ireland. I feel that Europe still hasn't forgiven us for sending Dustin the turkey. This will be my 3rd year hosting a Eurovision party in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Wow.
I was just there last year. How funny.
You could have come to the house party, maybe.
Yeah, no, I was there in on a cruise, and on a cruise. I will say after a cruise. Boats don't go there. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, so of course, one thing, and of course, some of you do silly comments, snarky comments, but it always comes from a place of love, because even with songs we don't necessarily personally click with, people put love and effort into that. So it's so easy to sit here and be like, this song sucks, they should do better, shame on you. Like, no. And there are fans out there for every song. Even Dustin the Turkey had fans. You brought him up, so I had to kind of mention that. So I would like to know Sean's score for Portugal this year. He will be able to talk about it. If you want, he'll be here tomorrow, so you can ask him directly as well. And of course, he will be in Liverpool with us. So that is certainly something we all are looking forward to. Let me see here. I think those are the most pressing questions that we had. Once again, tomorrow we have the last 9 countries that we're going to discuss. So I hope you'll tune in, and then we'll have the ranking. And as always, vote for all of the other songs. If you haven't done for the last week's one, it's late, but you can still vote for these 9 songs, as well as the one for tomorrow that are coming up. And then I'll have the ranking for you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today, and I will see you tomorrow again. Until then,